Hey Chris, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So I wanted to chat with you a little bit because I know you've been digging into the impacts of COVID here in Chelsea. And as the holidays are coming up, hoping you might have some advice as we're celebrating the holidays.
Sure.
So what are you going to be doing for Thanksgiving this year?
Well, I'm going to be making a little roast at home, and we're going to be at home, and we're going to Zoom with some friends and family. And that's about it. We might go take a walk after we eat all the food. We're not traveling anywhere. I usually go up and see friends in Maine, and this year we're not going because we know that cases are increasing, and we also know that we just want to take care of everybody.
So my family, I've got a lot of brothers and sisters, cousins, nephews, nieces, and my mom was really counting on all of us coming together for the holidays because she's, a senior. She doesn't get out very much. I'm really worried about disappointing her. Do you have any advice of like, if we get tested, like uh, how can we handle that?
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's really hard because we're also tired of being at home and alone. And can we just have dinner together? It's not that big a deal. So, one of the things that I'm really worried about is this data point that we found is that 35% of people with COVID don't have symptoms. So, that's something that I think about all the time is that even though we feel healthy, we feel great, we might be walking around with COVID and we might go over and see mom and give her a hug. And if mom has diabetes or if she's, obviously she's probably going to be an elder, we don't want to risk that she's going to end up in the hospital or something worse. So, something that I would recommend is tell mom that we're going to have to do it next year, and the best thing that I would recommend is maybe we can all have a Zoom. I've actually started having Zooms on Saturday night with friends, and we make it much more social. We're tired of Zoom as a work thing, but as a fun thing, it can be a lot more fun playing around with background pictures and just calling people. Having several people on the call is a lot of fun because we've been able to connect with people that we normally wouldn't connect with. What do you think? Did you think your mom would be open to learning Zoom?
Um, it, my dad's the technology guy, so I think maybe the two of them might do that. I know one idea I had was maybe just like dropping off dessert to them. And with my sisters, maybe going for a hike outside. We try to do a hike every Thanksgiving. So kind of doing that part of the holiday rather than the dinner part.
We do know that being outside and wearing a mask and keeping our distance is very safe. If we're going to do that's the safest human contact that we can have. The thing where it gets challenging is that we tend to think that because it's friends, because it's family, well, we trust them, they're not sick, they don't have symptoms. And then we start breaking those rules that we would have with strangers. So we get a little closer, we take off our mask. We say, well, just come on in, it's cold, come on in and have dessert with us. So we really want to make sure that we always remember that we're trying to take care of each other as a community. So even though it might be really, really tempting to go inside and have pie with your mom, or even though after a nice hike with your sisters, it might be nice to go have some tea inside, stay outside and keep your distance. Remember that you don't know if one of your sisters has COVID. You don't know if you have COVID. And we're going to stop the spread. The safest way to be together is to be together outside and wearing a mask.
Yeah, I know how mad my mom will be for me not being there for dinner, but I think she'll be even more mad if I get her sick. So it's a good advice of balancing that out.
Yeah, and I think what we need to talk about with our families and our friends is what we can do. We know what we can't do. And so let's think of ways that how can we be together? How can we support each other? How can we give each other love in such a hard time? We're all suffering. This is a horrible time for all of us. And if we're alone, it's worse. So we can give people a call, we can give people Zoom, we can send each other pictures. There's a lot of ways. Thank goodness that this is happening during a time of internet, and we can connect across the internet in so many ways. And let's talk about all the ways that we can connect instead of running the risk of continuing the spread of COVID and putting our families' lives at risk.
One thing I've heard some folks are saying that they will go and get a COVID test just before the holiday and then they'll be good. Is that still an option?
It is an option if they're not going to see anyone or go anywhere. So the hard part is I'm going to do a test and then I'm going to drive up to Maine and see my family, or I'm going to do a test and then I'm going to drive out to wherever, or I'm going to take a train. Keep in mind that every time that you stop self-isolating, you're putting yourself at risk. So, you know, you could get COVID on the train, you could get COVID at the gas station, you could get COVID. There's so many ways that you can be getting COVID. And we still don't know enough. But, you know, people keep getting COVID and they keep getting COVID. So even though you get the test, if you're going to do anything between getting the test and getting to your mom's house, you might get COVID along the way. So, you know,
Okay.
I would, yeah, there's no guarantee. And honestly, if we're actually going to stop the spread, we need to stop having social interaction. So like I said, let's look at ways that we can connect that don't involve actually being in contact with ourselves, with each other.
All right, well, thank you so much, Cris. I hope you have an awesome holiday.
Happy holidays. And I hope you send me some pictures of what you eat.
You. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.